Hey guys, so today is going to be some controversial dating, sex, and relationship questions. I gathered some that you guys sent me on Instagram DMs. It's just Megan Parken if you want to be involved. And I'm going to answer these. Now, they're controversial because these are hard questions. I feel like there's not really a right answer for any of them, but I do want to open up an interesting discussion in the comments. So if you have different viewpoints, ideas, or thoughts on any of these, feel free to leave them below. I think it can be really helpful to learn from other people and just see things in different lights from different people's experiences and things that they've gone through in their own lives. So I'm go ahead and jump right in. Again, don't hate me. These are a little bit controversial, but it's all in good fun, and I think we can all learn something from each one of these. So the first question is, can guys and girls be just friends? Now, this is an age-old question. Obviously, we're starting off the video hot. First of all, yes, obviously they can be. I think you can obviously have friends of the opposite gender. I think if you're in a relationship and you don't allow your partner to have a friend of the opposite gender, you're going to look really controlling and needy and desperate and very insecure, because it's definitely very close-minded to think that guys and girls can't be just friends. But I will say, in a lot of senses, I do think that there is some sort of just natural biological attraction between men and females. And I mean, I think in a lot of terms, people that become into a relationship, they start off as friends. I think a lot of times that is a comfort thing. You get to know someone, you kind of learn about them, you're around them a lot, so that's kind of just a logistic. You know, eventually maybe it turns into more. And I think more often than not, there normally is some sort of attraction on one end, and a lot of times I think it's just not reciprocal, so like one person feels it and the other one doesn't. And I think, you know, if you're just like not physically attracted to someone at all, then of course, you know, you're never gonna have those lines blurred, obviously, with any physical stuff. I do know, obviously, in movies and in portrayed in like TV shows, like when you hook up with a friend, it can either, you know, result in you guys being in love and like being the best relationship ever because you started off as friends, or it can like ruin your friendship and it like is never the same after you cross those certain lines. So personally, yes, I do believe men and females can be just friends, but I do also think that a lot of times there is some underlying attraction there on one side, possibly. And that can just be tricky. I don't know how you really honestly navigate it. I have guy friends, but I've also had people in my life that I wouldn't categorize as just a friend, but also I wouldn't say was anything more. Like maybe there was never anything physical that happened, but definitely the connection there was not just a platonic one, if that makes sense. So like that's like a really like blurry line, and I just think it gets difficult. I don't know. And I do think a lot of girls know that like playing the best friend role is like a good way to kind of get a guy, and I think vice versa. Like a lot of guys that are like your good guy friend for years and years and years, at least in movies, it's always portrayed like, oh my gosh, you were there all along. You were like my, you know, dorky guy friend that I didn't pay attention to, but actually, now I'm in love with you. So it is like a common trope. I don't know the logistics of it, honestly. Like I do think guys and girls can be just friends, but I think that a lot of times there is some sort of attraction there, and that can really make things difficult. So I don't know. I just wouldn't be a big like fan of hooking up with your friends. I don't think it's a good idea personally. But I don't know. Again, you guys can give me your own thoughts on this, and I would love to hear them because I think it's an interesting question for sure. The next one is emotional cheating or physical cheating worse and more hurtful? Wow, interesting question. So obviously emotional cheating would be, I mean, everyone's version of cheating is different, which is also interesting, and that's obviously something that you need to really hash out in your own relationship, because, you know, to some people talking to someone else isn't cheating, but to some people it is. To some people sleeping with someone else isn't cheating, to some people it is. Kissing someone isn't cheating, but doing anything more is, whatever. Like I think there are so many lines that need to kind of be understood. But obviously I think just a good rule of thumb is anything that you don't want your partner to know about is probably getting into that cheating territory, I would say. And I do think if you've been cheated on, you are probably very wary of this, and you're very like aware of it. And I feel like most people that get cheated on, like they kind of know in a way. And I don't mean that at all in like a victim blaming idea of like, if you get cheated on, like it's your own fault, like you should know. And I just mean like, I feel like, I mean, I've been cheated on. I feel like you just kind of like have a sense of it going on. You know, I'll say honestly, I feel like I have emotionally cheated before in past relationships. It just, I don't know, it's something you learn from. You definitely learn the amount of hurt that it inflicts on someone else, and you hopefully don't do it again. But I personally think as a female, emotionally cheating is worse. And that would be, in my terms, you know, telling someone about your day, venting to them about your relationship, expressing that you wish you could be with them instead, like those kind of things. Just any sort of interaction that maybe should be kind of preserved for your significant other I think is emotionally cheating, but also it's really difficult because you can have connections and interesting conversations, and like the question earlier, you can be just friends with someone and talk to them all the time, enjoy them, really like them as a person, and still kind of maybe be crossing the lines into that emotional cheating realm because you're having all of the benefits of being in a relationship, of having this, you know, emotional connection, talking about things, getting enjoyment, getting excitement over someone, but you aren't living any of the real day-to-day life stuff of being in a relationship, dealing just with everyday life that's difficult. And, you know, obviously being in a relationship takes work. It's not always enjoyable and fun. And I think it can really get clouded for people if you're like emotionally cheating on the sides because you're thinking maybe that's how a relationship with this other person would be, but in reality, you're only getting such a small snippet of what that would actually be like, I guess. I've asked guys the same question though, and like pretty much hands down, they've all said that physical cheating is worse. They're like, if a girl that I'm dating or I'm seeing sleeps with another guy and I find out about it and we're like monogamous, like that's just horrible, like I can't get over it, it's so hurtful, really gives me trust issues, like all these kind of things. So I think it really just depends. To me personally, like if someone were to do that, obviously it's gross. Like if you love someone and you care about them and you're with them, you don't want to think about them sleeping with someone else, like it's kind of nasty. But at the same time, like doing a one-off thing like that, I don't think is as big of a deal because, I mean, it is like obviously like for health reasons, but I don't think in terms of like emotional connection because I know people that can have sex and it means literally nothing. They never think about the person ever again. But maybe, you know, if you're telling this person all your, you know, hopes and dreams and about your childhood and you're venting about your relationship, maybe you really do have a deep connection with that person that you're emotionally cheating with, even though nothing physical has actually transpired. And then obviously the worst would be emotional cheating where you're, you know, getting really excited about someone and invested in them that then ends up being physical cheating, obviously, because to me, something physical happening, if there's no emotion behind it, I think it's meaningless. Like, I think that is such a big component, and I'm someone that's just, like, not a fan of casual sex at all. Like, I literally take it very seriously, and it always has meaning behind it when I'm with someone. So to me, you know, the emotional part has to be wrapped up in there. But to answer the question, basically, on a long-winded note, you guys can tell I'm very passionate about this subject. I think it's really interesting and fascinating because people have such different views on it. It's so interesting to me, but I would probably say emotional cheating is worse. And is there any coming back from it? Whew, I mean, yeah, I think you can get through cheating, but it's hard because there's always in the back of your mind, like, is it still happening? You know, are they still thinking of that other person? Would they rather be with them? Like, I do think it's just difficult. And I think as humans, monogamy is a really interesting concept because I think a lot of people when they're in relationships, they feel tied down and they feel conflicted about maybe wanting outside sources of entertainment, whether that be physically or mentally or whatever, some sort of stimulation. So, you know, I think it's a hard thing because in a lot of ways, like certain aspects I think really do need to be explored so that you can be in a relationship that feels secure and safe and healthy and like you don't have that desire to cheat. And you know, I did read a quote one time that said something to the effect of, being a good woman won't keep a man, being hot won't keep a man, doing everything for a man won't keep a man, like all these things. The only thing that's going to keep a man is a man that wants to be kept. And I mean, I do believe that. I think wasting your time and energy on wondering if you're being cheated on, I mean, I don't really think you can necessarily control that unless like you're really neglecting your partner like emotionally and physically and you're like making them feel really shut out. Other than that, I think if someone's gonna cheat on you, they're gonna do it, and it is a moral thing. Like, it's something they have to sit and live with, and I think that's probably the worst part. I think for someone to cheat and like to always be worried about being caught or found out, like that's gotta be like not worth the cheating, I would think. I mean, just break up if you're unhappy and you want to be with someone else. But yeah. The next question is, are drunk words sober thoughts? Ooh, interesting one. So I'm not a huge drinker. Definitely in high school went through a phase where I was a bit of a party girl. Kind of got that all out of my system, and I really only drink beer because I get drunk pretty easily. So I don't really drink liquor. Maybe margaritas, like a little bit of tequila, and then champagne and wine at special events, but pretty much just beer. So I never get super drunk. And I would say I've never done anything drunk that was like completely out of character, like that I never would have done sober or said sober. I mean, I've done things that I probably regret, and maybe I'm like, ooh, probably shouldn't have done that, probably shouldn't have said that, but it's never been something that I'm like, that was not me, that was an alter ego, another person took over. But I know a lot of people like think that, like a lot of people think like things they do and say when they're drunk like have no reflection of them. I just don't really agree. I think it definitely lowers your inhibitions, maybe makes you more open to things and saying things that you wouldn't normally do or you would kind of refrain from, but yeah, I mean, I think someone's behavior or their actions when they're drunk does say a bit about their own like psyche and maybe what they're thinking about or considering. I don't know. I'd love to hear y'all's thoughts on that one as well, because I think that one can really go either way. I know some people are like, no, like not at all. But again, I'm a huge quote person. I did read a quote one time that said, pay attention when what they say to you when they're angry and when they're drunk. And little kids, because they're always very, very brutally honest. So, I don't know. The next question is, do you think people lie to protect themselves or to protect you? Interesting one. Obviously, off the bat, you're going to be like, obviously they protect themselves. But I've heard the trope of, oh, you know, I lied to you to protect your feelings, like to not hurt you because I knew that that would be worse in a way. And I think like in the terms of like a white lie, like if someone, you know, doesn't look good in a dress and you're like, I'm not going to tell her because like I don't want to hurt her feelings. Like I get that, like when it's not needed, but in a big sense of something big happening and someone choosing to use the narrative of they didn't tell you because they thought it would hurt you more, so they just kept it to themselves. Like I think that's a cop-out and a tactic to remove guilt from themselves. Like they're convincing literally you and themselves that they did the right thing by lying because telling you the truth would have hurt you more. But I will say, to play devil's advocate here, there are some people that are like, I would just rather not know. Like honestly, I would like to live my life oblivious, and I don't mean that in like a disrespectful way at all. I know the word like oblivion is like not a nice way to be, but there are people that would rather live their life in the idea that they think it is, and in, you know, not knowing about certain actions because they can't handle it. Like they don't want to know that truth. They don't want to seek it out. If it's happening, they don't want to know. Like they would rather just live their life in a positive, happy way, thinking nothing bad's going on. I'm like the opposite of that. I'm someone that I seek out information that I know is going to hurt me because I have to have like the full story. Like for me, even if it's really hurtful and detrimental to me, I still like feel like I need to know it. Like I feel like it's not that I enjoy it because I don't enjoy being hurt or negative information, but I really don't enjoy feeling like there's parts of stuff missing. Like for me, that's way more hurtful and hard. And I'm a super understanding person. If someone's gonna come to me with something really difficult and they're gonna say like, hey, look, I could have lied about this, but I'm gonna be honest, and it's hard for me to be honest with you about this, but I'm gonna do it anyways. Like my respect and admiration and love for them and trust for them goes up so much because I know how, I mean, the things that you need to normally be having conversations about are the things that are the hardest to have conversations about. Like if it's difficult to talk about, it's difficult for a reason because you need to be talking about it. And I don't know, I think people lie to protect themselves. Personally, I don't think they lie to protect you. I think that's a nice little lie that they're giving you to remove that guilt from their own heart. And I think if you are someone that does that and you think you're doing it for the benefit of the other person, I mean, maybe if it's the type of person they are, but I also think that a lot of people are really freed by the truth. And I think the main thing is when you are given a set of truths in life and things that are accurate and factual, you can make decisions based on reality, not based on your perception that may be completely wrong. And I think when people are lied to, that's the main thing that is like so hurtful and hard to get over. A lot of times I feel like it's not even the act of it, it's just the fact that they made a decision based on something that wasn't accurate or real. And you had the ability to adjust that and you chose to not do it for your own benefit. So, I don't know. Ooh, that's a deep one. That's my thought at least. Okay, the next question is, can you grow into loving someone or is it an initial spark? Alright, well, again, people aren't going to be happy with this answer, but I think personally it's a spark. Again, I'm a huge quote person. There's a quote that I love. It says something to the effect of, you know, within the first few seconds, I'm waiting for it. I'm giving you that chance. Show me that spark. Show me it. And that's how I feel. Like when I've met certain people, like right off the bat, it's like a click, an instantaneous feeling. connection, something that's there or it's not there. I'm a big reader on energy. Obviously, energy surrounds us. That's a fact. You can flow in and out of energy, and people have energy as well. And if you get really in tune with yourself and with others, you can pick up on that and read that. And for me, like, there are certain people that just, like, right off the bat, like, it was instantaneous. Like, we're gonna be best friends. We're gonna be lovers. We're gonna be together. This person is going to be monumental in my life. And, like, I always knew that instantaneously with the people that have been that. I really haven't met that many people that it's been like a slow burn and then it becomes something amazing, just because of the type of person I am. I'm very intense. Like, I like that emotion, even the drama, the heartache, the difficulty that comes with those intense connections. Like, I thrive in that. I don't shy away from it. And I know a lot of people would prefer to be in something really stable and simple and calm and slow because it's more comfortable, and that's like totally fine. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think it just depends on the type of person that you are. A lot of people, and people have told me this, like, slow down, like, don't take things so seriously, don't be so intense, like, you're rushing, whatever. But for me, that's just the way that I am. And I feel like, you know, I haven't had any situation that's like been long and drug out that then has resulted in something really impactful for me specifically, because I think that's just not the way that I work. But for a lot of people, I think there's a level of comfort there. When you're, you know, getting to know someone slowly or meeting someone or becoming friends with them or whatever it is over a long period of time, and it's easy and it's no pressure and it's loose, you become comfortable and you become feeling like you fit there, and it just becomes something naturally that you want, and that maybe becomes important because over time it evolved there. And I don't think that one way or the other is right or wrong. They're just different. And for me, it's definitely a spark, and it's normally either there or not. But again, I would love to hear y'all's thoughts on this, because I know it's so different for everyone, and that's like so cool and like totally okay. And I don't want you guys to think that just because I'm saying one thing means I think anything less of anyone that feels differently. Like, not at all. I think it's actually fascinating that people view things so completely differently, and we can always learn from that for sure. The next question is, do you judge someone based on their past? And they were kind of explaining, like, if you met a guy that, for example, used to be a player, maybe he cheated on people, maybe he slept around a lot, treated girls badly, whatever, would you judge someone based on that past? Like, do you think that is indicative of who they are? For me, absolutely not. Like, I'm someone that, I feel like I've been misjudged and stuff in the past for sure, and I think with doing YouTube, it's really simple to have people critique you, your lifestyle, choices you make, people you're involved with, things you say, you do, what you look like all these things, just because you are publicly giving those things of yourself. And like, everything I say in my videos is how I 100% truly feel. Like, I show who I really am, like the good and the bad, the vulnerable, the open, you know, the mistakes, like everything that I am, I put it all out there. So when I do get backlash and stuff, it's hurtful because I feel like I'm trying to portray myself as accurately as possible. So when people negatively feel something about that, it feels like a personal attack. But I also know at the end of the day, you know, people that don't truly want to know you, they're going to judge you. You know what I mean? Like, if you really want to get to know someone, you don't judge them. Like, if you really have that desire, then you look past all these things that you've heard about them, or you know, someone told you or whatever, and you make that decision for yourself. And I think that's a really interesting thing. I'm also really drawn to people that are leaders in that way, not people that follow the crowd, that are like pack mentality. I like people that make their own decisions and that say, like, look, I'm gonna get to know this person for myself and make my own decisions on what I think of them. I'm not going to listen to what anyone else has to say, because their situation and their interaction with them is not mine. So it has literally no bar on what I think or what I do or how this person interacts with me in my life. And I also think, you know, on a smaller scale, I think people learn from situations. So I think, you know, in a relationship and stuff, if a guy used to treat girls really badly, I think a lot of times they learn from that and they grow from that and they become better because of it. And, you know, maybe they go through a phase of realizing that what they've done has been hurtful or has hurt them, or maybe they've had an experience where they realize, like, that's not the way to act anymore. And I think shunning someone from that, you're just cutting off so many people that I think actually have had a lot of good life experience. And I am attracted to people that have had that because I think they know, and I think that they're aware of what they want and what they don't want, and they know when to know something is special because they've had experience, if that makes sense. So for me personally, no, I don't judge someone based off their past. If they have a bad past, I don't think it's indicative of their character today. Now, would I judge them based off what they do, like, in my presence right now? Like, sure, obviously. If they're doing horrible things, I'm not just gonna, like, overlook that and be like, let me just get to know them. Maybe they're good underneath it all. Like, I'm not stupid. Like, I take things for what they are, but I don't take someone else's experiences or thoughts on someone as fact or as my own, if that makes sense. And the last question I'm going to answer today is, do you think people really can change? So I do. I think that, of course, you should be evolving and growing and becoming a better person every single day. That should be a goal that you have, and if it's not, you should really put that into your life, because it's, I think, the point of life, honestly, to grow and just learn from things and become better. And I think if you're not doing that, you're really kind of stagnant and, like, there's no progress being made there. And I do think people can change. I think people change by learning. I think that's the whole thing. Like, you know, lessons are such a great teacher. Mistakes are something that is so cliche, but, like, they really show us what to not do or what to better adjust next time around. And there always is also a silver lining in every situation. Every bad situation, there's such a lesson to be taken away from that. Some bit of knowledge, some understanding, ideas, empathy. There's always something positive there if you look hard enough for it. But do I think people really change? I mean, I think at the core of it, people are who they are, but they can evolve and grow and become better, and they can learn. Do I think that you can change someone? No. And that has been something that I have learned over years. Again, I'm an empath. I feel very deeply. I'm very intense. I'm a nurturer. I want to love people, and I want to help them and fix them and, you know, make them the potential that I see in them. But I've learned that that's not right. You can't change someone or fix someone. That has to be something that they arrive to on their own. You can encourage them and you can help them and you can guide them towards a path, but at the end of the day, like, someone changes or acts a certain way because they choose, they want to. And when you accept that and you really, really accept that and learn it and understand it as women, it's really freeing, because it releases that feel and that need to try to help someone that maybe, you know, you see so much potential in but just isn't meeting it, or isn't doing the right things, or is acting in a bad way that you know isn't really them. You know they can be better. I just think it's important to understand that that's on them. You know, everyone's journey in life is to fix themselves, is to become a better person because they want it, not because you're asking them to, or you're helping them to, or you're telling them to. So that's my thought on that. So this was a really fun video. I enjoyed this a lot. These questions were a little bit deep and a little bit controversial. Again, I'm expecting that you guys have different opinions in mind, which is totally cool. I'm excited to read them and I'm looking forward to it. So please leave me your comments and thoughts below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.